Picture this. You're walking down your street on a quiet Saturday morning. The lawns are trimmed. The paint on the houses is slightly faded but well kept. And a 10-year-old sedan is parked neatly in the driveway next door. The man who lives there waves as he picks up his newspaper. He's wearing worn sneakers, a plain hoodie, and he's carrying his own trash bin back from the curb. Nothing about him screams success. Nothing about his home suggests extraordinary wealth. And yet, behind that modest brick facade, might live a multimillionaire. Not the flashy kind you see on social media, not the kind popping champagne on a yacht in Miami, but the quiet kind, the disciplined kind, the silent millionaire next door. Today, we're uncovering stealth wealth, the hidden financial power, quietly living in ordinary neighborhoods. The people who look average, spend average, live average, but whose bank accounts tell a completely different story. We've been conditioned to associate wealth with visibility. Big houses, luxury cars, designer labels, exotic vacations. But real wealth rarely shouts. In fact, the loudest displays of wealth often belong to people financing an image, not owning their freedom. The silent millionaire understands something that most people don't. Wealth is what you don't see. In the 1990s, a groundbreaking book called The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas J. Stanley and William D. Danko studied actual millionaires across America. The findings shocked people. Most millionaires didn't live in Beverly Hills or Manhattan penthouses. They lived in middle-class neighborhoods. They drove practical cars. They clipped coupons. They invested consistently. They avoided debt. And perhaps most importantly, they didn't look rich. The silent millionaire next door is not trying to impress you. They are trying to protect their freedom. Let's break this down. First, stealth wealth is intentional. It's not about being cheap. It's not about deprivation. It's about alignment. The silent millionaire understands the difference between income and net worth. Income is what you earn. Net worth is what you keep. And the gap between the two is where wealth is born. Most people focus on increasing income, promotions, overtime, side hustles, bigger paychecks. And while income matters, the silent millionaire focuses just as intensely on controlling lifestyle inflation. When their income goes up, their spending doesn't rise proportionally. Instead, the surplus is quietly redirected into investments, index funds, real estate, businesses, retirement accounts, assets that produce more assets. The result? Compounding. The eighth wonder of the world, as famously described by Albert Einstein. Whether or not he actually said it, the idea remains powerful. Compounding rewards patience. It favors discipline over drama. It doesn't care about appearances. It cares about time. Imagine two neighbors. One buys a brand new luxury SUV every few years. The other drives the same reliable vehicle for 15 years. The first neighbor is a car depreciates. The second neighbor's investments appreciate. Over decades, that difference becomes enormous. Not because of one big decision, but because of consistent small ones. Stealth wealth also involves psychological strength. There's a quiet confidence required to live below your means in a world obsessed with upgrades. Social media constantly tempts you to compare, to match, to compete. But the silent millionaire doesn't play that game. They understand that every purchase carries an opportunity cost. Every dollar spent today is a dollar that can't grow tomorrow. This is not about never enjoying life. Silent millionaires take vacations. They dine out. They enjoy hobbies. But their enjoyment is intentional, not impulsive. They value experiences and relationships more than status symbols. They don't need validation through consumption. Now here's something interesting. Many silent millionaires are first-generation wealthy. They didn't inherit fortunes. They built them slowly. Teachers, engineers, small business owners, accountants, plumbers, nurses. People whose jobs don't make headlines, but whose discipline builds portfolios. Think about the power of consistency. Investing a modest amount every month over 30 years can lead to 7 figures. Not because of luck, not because of viral success, but because of habit. The silent millionaire treats investing like brushing their teeth. Non-negotiable, There's also a protective element to stealth wealth. When people don't know you're wealthy, expectations stay low. Pressure stays low. You avoid becoming the default bank for extended family or social circles. Privacy becomes a financial strategy. In many cases, the silent millionaire's home is paid off or close to it. Their retirement accounts are maxed out. They have little to no consumer debt. Their children's education may be funded. But if you walk past them at the grocery store, you'd never guess. Why is this model so powerful? Because it's sustainable. Flashy wealth requires maintenance. Bigger houses mean bigger taxes, bigger insurance, bigger utility bills. Luxury cars mean higher depreciation and higher stress about scratches. Lifestyle inflation creates fragility. Stealth wealth creates resilience. The silent millionaire is hard to shake. Market downturn. They have emergency funds. Job loss. They have assets generating income. Economic crises. They have low fixed expenses. Their financial life is structured like a fortress, not a fireworks display. Let's talk about habits. Most silent millionaires track their spending. Not obsessively, but consciously. They know where their money goes. They automate investments. They negotiate bills. They compare prices. They avoid high interest debt like it's a contagious disease. They also understand delayed gratification. This is critical. In a culture of instant delivery and one-click purchases, delayed gratification feels almost radical. But it's the foundation of wealth, the ability to say, "Not now," in exchange for much more later. Another trait, they marry wisely and communicate about money. Financial compatibility plays a massive role in wealth building. Two people aligned on saving and investing can accelerate wealth dramatically. Two people constantly battling over spending can destroy it just as fast. The silent millionaire also invests in knowledge. They read books. They study markets. They understand taxes. They seek professional advice when necessary. They treat financial literacy as a lifelong skill, not a one-time lesson. There's something else subtle but powerful. They don't chase trends. When everyone is panicking, they stay steady. When everyone is euphoric, they stay cautious. They understand cycles. They know that markets rise and fall, but discipline remains constant. Sometimes, stealth wealth shows up in unexpected places. The modest landlord who owns several properties free and clear. The quiet retiree living off dividends. The small business owner who reinvested profits for decades. They aren't influencers. They aren't flexing online. They're simply free, and freedom is the real currency here. Freedom to choose how to spend your time. Freedom to leave a toxic job. Freedom to help family when it truly matters. Freedom to retire early if you want to. That's what the silent millionaire is actually buying. Let's zoom in on a neighborhood example. That neighbor who fixes his own fence instead of hiring someone. He may not be cutting corners. He may simply value efficiency. That family who hosts potlucks instead of lavish catered parties. They may prioritize community over display. That couple who still uses coupons despite high income. They may see savings as a game worth winning. Stealth wealth often looks like normalcy, and that's the point. Now imagine applying this philosophy. You start tracking expenses. You reduce unnecessary subscriptions. You cook at home more often. You invest the difference. You avoid upgrading your lifestyle every time your salary increases. 10 years pass. 20 years pass. You check your net worth. It quietly crossed 7 figures. No viral moment. No lottery win. Just discipline compounded. There's an elegance to that. It's important to understand that stealth wealth isn't about hiding in fear. It's about living aligned with values instead of external expectations. It's about building internal security rather than external signals. In fact, many silent millionaires could afford to live flashier lives. They choose not to, because they understand that wealth is not about consumption capacity. It's about control. There's a powerful mindset shift here. Instead of asking, "Can I afford this?" they ask, "Is this worth the trade-off?" That simple question changes everything. Stealth wealth also reduces anxiety. When your identity isn't tied to visible luxury, you're less vulnerable to economic swings. You don't need constant income growth to sustain appearances. Your self-worth isn't parked in the driveway. Let's be clear. There's nothing wrong with enjoying luxury if it aligns with your values and you can afford it responsibly. The key difference is intention. The silent millionaire spends from surplus, not from ego. And here's the surprising part. Many silent millionaires are generous because their lifestyle is controlled. They have margin. They donate quietly. They support causes. They help families strategically. Often anonymously. You might never know the full financial story of the person living 3 houses down, but that's the beauty of it. Wealth doesn't need an audience. In a world obsessed with broadcasting success, the silent millionaire builds in silence. In a world chasing virality, they chase compounding. In a culture of upgrades, they master contentment. The next time you walk through your neighborhood, look differently. The quiet house with the older car, the family that seems ordinary. The retired couple gardening together. Among them could be someone whose net worth quietly exceeds expectations by millions. And here's the empowering part. Stealth wealth is accessible. It doesn't require celebrity. It doesn't require genius. It requires discipline, patience, and alignment. So maybe the silent millionaire next door isn't just a mysterious neighbor. Maybe it's a future version of you. Because at its core, stealth wealth is a choice to prioritize freedom over flash, security over status, time over trophies. And in the end, when the noise fades and trends disappear, the one who quietly built, patiently invested, and humbly lived below their means will still be standing, financially strong, emotionally steady, and completely free. That is the silent millionaire next door.